Number 3, consider the function f of x equals negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 10. Determine whether the graph opens upward or downward, the axis of symmetry, the vertex, and the y-intercept. That's a lot there. There are a lot of ways to do it. I mean, the most, down-to-earth way to do it would be just plug it into a graphing calculator, graph it, and look at it. Look at where the vertex is, look at where the y-intercept is, look at where the axis of symmetry is. Maybe we'll do that to check it. I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing what you're doing in class is putting these into vertex form and then using that to figure out what h and k are. So let's do that. Let's give it a try. So we have negative 4x squared. I need some more space. I'll just write over this paper. Negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 10. And vertex form looks like y equals a x minus h squared plus k. And that's useful because the vertex would be at hk. Okay, so the way that we do that is by completing the square. Okay, so we'll factor out that negative 4. So there we have x squared. And negative x divided by negative 4 would be positive 2, so I'll put plus 2x. And now I got to think, what do I need to add to make this a perfect square trinomial? Well, what is half of 2? Half of 2, that's 2 divided by 2, is 1. And what is 1 squared? Well, 1 squared is 1. So if I put plus 1 right there, then I have a perfect square trinomial. But I can't just add 1. That's going to change the value of my function. So I got to do something to compensate for that. So when I added 1 there, we got to remember that 1 is being multiplied by the negative 4. So really adding 1 there is like adding negative 4 to our equation, to our function here. So if I'm adding negative 4, or subtracting 4, I got to get rid of that. I got to do the opposite. I got to add 4. And then I still have that plus 10 on the end. So what I've done here is I've written something equivalent to the first line, but I've written it very differently. I've written it so now I have a perfect square trinomial right here. So now I can rewrite that perfect square trinomial as something squared. Well, what binomial squares give you x squared plus 2x plus 1? Well, the trick is it's x plus half of that middle term there. So it's x plus 1 squared. And then I can combine these, plus 4 plus 10, that's plus 14. Okay, so now it's in HK form, and I can see my H is here, my K is there. But it says plus instead of minus, and my HK form has a minus in it. So my H isn't going to be 1, my H is going to be negative 1. Because this here is the same as x minus negative 1. And I want my HK form to look like x minus h. So h is negative 1, k is 14. That's my vertex. So here I've got my graph that I made using a graphic calculator. And we can see the vertex is at negative 114. I was a little worried for a second there. And you can see that the line of symmetry is going to go through the vertex. So the line of symmetry is always going to be x equals, and well, what's the value of x at your vertex? And we know from before that it's negative 1. Or it's your h value, in other words. So the line x equals negative 1, that's going to be our line of symmetry. What else were you being asked? Determine whether the graph opens upward or downward. Well, you can see from the graph that it opens down, but the easy way to tell that from the function is from that a value. If a is negative, then it's going to open down. If a is positive, then it's going to open up. The axis of symmetry, we did that. The vertex, we did that. And the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept, here it is, right here. That'll kind of give away the answer. But if you think about what's happening with x, on the y, anywhere on the y-axis, the value of x is always 0. So any point on this line here, on this axis, you can kind of see that the value of x is gonna be 0. It lines up with 0 right there. So what we could do is we could take our original function and we can plug in 0 for x and see what you get. And that's going to be your y-intercept. So we can see from our graph we should get 10. So let me go back here and erase this. So I can see my function there. Okay, plug in 0 for x. And see what we get out for y, or for f of x. Oops, I forgot to plug in 0. 8 times 0. Okay, so negative 4 times 0 squared, that's going to be 0. 8 times 0, 0. Plus 10. Okay, 0 minus 0 plus 10, 10. So we've done it. We know the graph opens downward. The axis of symmetry was x equals negative 1. The vertex is negative 114. And the y-intercept is 10. Okay, I hope that helps.